Once upon a time there was a mother pig and her 3 piglets. 3 brothers are the same height. Round, pink, with the same funny tails. All summer the pigs played in the green grass, basked in the sun, basked in the puddles. But then autumn came. One day my mother said that it was time for them to think about winter. She asked them to build a big house. The younger brother said that winter is still far away. The middle brother said that he would build his own house when needed. And the older brother decided to build the house himself. The younger and middle brothers did nothing but play their games. It got colder and colder every day. The younger brother decided to build a house out of straw. The middle brother thought it would be very cold in the thatched house in winter. He decided to build a house from twigs and twigs. By the evening their housing was ready. They were very proud of themselves and could not get enough of their buildings. Now they were free and could do whatever they wanted. They decided to go to their older brother and see what kind of house he had built for himself. The older brother was busy building. He applied stones, kneaded clay and slowly built himself a reliable, durable home. The younger brothers found their older brother at work. They were very surprised at what kind of fortress he was building. The elder brother calmly continued to work. The younger and middle brothers began to joke and laugh at his house. They were so amused that their screeching echoed far across the lawn. The elder brother asked to be quiet because the wolf could hear them. The younger and middle brothers were amused even more. They decided that the older brother was just a coward. And the 2 brave brothers went for a walk. On the way, they sang and danced, and when they entered the forest, they made such a noise that they woke up the wolf who was sleeping under the pine tree. The disgruntled and hungry wolf went to the place where the screeching of 2 stupid pigs came from. The brothers walked merrily and talked about how easily they would deal with the wolf. And suddenly they saw a real living wolf. He was standing behind a large tree. He had very evil eyes and a huge toothy mouth. The brothers were so frightened that their thin tails trembled finely. The wolf prepared to jump. He snapped his teeth and blinked his right eye. The pigs suddenly came to their senses and, screeching across the forest, rushed to run away. Raising clouds of dust, they rushed each to his own house. The younger brother ran to his thatched hut and slammed the door in front of the wolf. The wolf growled and demanded to open the door. The younger brother, out of fear, could not utter a word. Then the wolf began to blow. The light roof instantly flew off the thatched hut. The wolf took a deep breath and blew a second time, and the thatch house flew in all directions. The wolf was delighted, snapped his teeth, and pounced on his younger brother. But the pig deftly dodged and ran. He ran to the house of the middle brother. The brothers managed to lock themselves up and looked at each other in dismay. The wolf got angry and began to blow. The house is slightly askew. The wolf blew a second, then a third, then a fourth time. But the house was still standing. The wolf took a deep breath and blew for the 5th time. The house shook and fell apart. Only one door stood for some time in the middle of the ruins. In horror, the piglets rushed to the house of their elder brother. The wolf ran after them. He was sure that this time the pigs would not run away from him. The piglets quickly rushed past the large apple tree without even hitting it. And the wolf did not have time to turn and hit the apple tree, which covered him with apples. One hard apple hit him between the eyes. A big bump jumped on the wolf's forehead. At this time, the younger and middle brothers managed to run into the house of the older brother and bolt the door. The wolf ran to the door, growled and demanded to open the door. The younger brothers were very scared and could not say anything in return. And the elder brother knew that he and his brothers had nothing to fear in a solid stone house. Then the wolf sucked in more air and blew as soon as he could. But no matter how much it blew, not a single stone moved. And then he looked up and noticed a large, wide chimney on the roof. He carefully climbed onto the roof and began to go down the pipe. The pigs heard a rustle. The elder brother immediately guessed what was the matter. He quickly rushed to the cauldron in which water was boiling and tore off the lid. The wolf went down the pipe and fell straight into the cauldron. His eyes widened to his forehead. The scalded wolf flew out with a wild roar and rushed into the forest. And the three little pigs looked after him and were glad that they had so cleverly taught the evil robber a lesson. From that time on, the brothers and their mother began to live together under one roof. Once upon a time, there was a king who had 12 beautiful daughters. They all lived together in a large and beautiful room. The king was very fond of princesses and raised them in severity. When the daughters went to bed, he closed their door with a key. But every morning something strange happened. When the princesses left the room, their shoes were so ruined as if they had been dancing all night long. The king had to buy new shoes for his daughters every day. No one could solve the riddle of the princesses. Once the king promised to marry one of his daughters if someone would solve the mystery of the shoes. In addition, the winner will become the king's heir. But the daredevil has only 3 days and 3 nights for this, otherwise he will be executed. Many young men of the kingdom, as well as foreign princes, came to try their luck. Day and night they guarded the doors of the 12 princesses' bedroom. But none of them could solve this riddle. And so, another young man decided to try his luck. On the way to the palace, he met an old grandmother.
Hello.
She was very hungry and asked for a piece of bread. The young man gave the old woman all his food. Grandmother was very happy because no one had ever been so kind to her. As a token of gratitude, she presented the young man with a magic cloak that made the one who wears it invisible.
Cool.
In addition, the old woman ordered not to drink anything that the princesses would give. The young man thanked her and went to the castle. When the young man arrived, the king greeted him with joy and led him to the princess's room. The young man began to guard their door. Towards evening, the older sister offered him a glass of wine. The boy on the way was very hungry and thirsty. He forgot about the words of the old grandmother and drank from the glass without hesitation. Soon he felt sleepy and fell asleep. The young man slept all night, and when he woke up it was already morning. He realized that the princess had put sleeping pills in his glass. And then the young man remembered the words of the old woman. Towards evening, the youngest sister offered him a glass of wine. But this time he was careful. The young man took the glass and thanked the princess. When she left, he poured the wine into a vase nearby. When night fell, the young man put on his magic cloak and immediately became invisible. He quietly walked into the princess room and saw that all the princesses were wearing their best ball gowns. Then they went to the wall and began to listen if the young man was sleeping. The young man played along with them and began to snore softly. When the girls were convinced that he was asleep, the older sister moved her bed. At the same place, a secret entrance opened, and the princesses began to descend into it. The young man followed them. When the steps ended, they found themselves in an amazing forest. The leaves on the trees were pure gold. The young man took one twig with him and continued to follow the princesses. After a long journey, they stopped by the lake. There the girls were already waiting for 12 handsome princes in their boats. When the princesses boarded their boats, the invisible youth also jumped into one of them. The princes transported them across the river, and they ended up at a huge, beautiful castle. Beautiful music sounded from it. Entering the castle, the princesses began to dance. They danced relentlessly all night long. Of course, this made their shoes unusable. In the morning, the princesses sailed on boats back to the side of the house. They walked through the woods again, and up the long stairs to their room. The young man was happy that he had solved the riddle of the shoes of the 12 princesses. Soon the king appeared to the young man. The young man told him everything he saw.
No.
The king at first did not believe him, but he showed a golden twig from a magic tree. The king realized that the young man was telling the truth and kept his promise. He allowed the young man to marry any of the 12 princesses. The young man chose the youngest sister because they fell in love at first sight. After some time, the young man and the young princess got married. And they lived happily ever after.